Hi, Emily. We're good. How are you?
I'm doing great because I'm talking to both of you. I watched the first four episodes of the show and it was so captivating. I love that it was filmed with different cameras and at different angles. It's really immersive. How would you both describe the show in three words?
Mm. We landed on gripping. What was the other one you said?
Raw and emotional.
Raw. Yeah.
And
I mean,
I mean, there are so many ways to describe it.
relentless. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's nonstop.
Hmm.
Once you turn it on, it's very difficult to, you know, leave for a bathroom break, to turn it off and go to work, go to bed. It's just, one thing happens right after the other, and there's no time even for our characters to process. They're really living moment to moment, call to call.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was really interesting too because sometimes your characters would go through really important pivotal conversations or they'd be in the middle of having this deep convo and then you get a call and you'd have to kind of compartmentalize everything that just happened and move on to literally the next call. As actors, how do you guys, take a mental break, keep it light on set when you have to film back to back so many intense scenes?
It was really easy to keep it light on set because we were working with like the best crew.
Yeah.
They were
True.
awesome and they were so hardworking and so talented. Like, we were in some very, very difficult
Yeah.
locations and everybody was pulling it off, at all hours of the morning in the weirdest weather, in abandoned houses. You'd see, somebody just doing something incredible. And it was, and they were also doing it with such a wonderful and infectious energy.
Mm.
So it was really great to be able to keep that sort of lightness and like that gratitude and joy on set. Because yeah, like you said, it's really important because we're dealing with sometimes traumatic scenes and very dramatic stakes. And you want to hold true to that and authentic to that, but that can be hard to sustain for a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously you're both playing cops and you're partners. Eric told us that you all had to go on a ride along. Can you
Mhm.
talk to us about that experience and other things you did on top of that to prep for this role?
Yeah. 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 I think there was actually a requirement from Tim and Elliot. They required all of their writers to at least do a couple ride-alongs, and it was something that we had the luxury to do because from the time that we got cast to the time that we actually filmed the show, it was only a span of maybe like 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh yeah.
So we did some ride-alongs with Long Beach Police Department, and they were super gracious enough to kind of welcome us into their world, and we were just kind of flies on the wall. And I think that really helped inform us on just what policing is nowadays in 2024. I mean, we had an idea in our heads, but of course, when you actually get to witness it from like a first-person point of view, it changes things and it changes your approach into the material.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you two are partners in this, and it's so interesting to see your dynamic. I'm curious, what do you think makes Officer Harmon and Officer Diaz such good partners?
It's interesting because it's kind of like in the beginning, they're not choosing each other. He's not choosing me as his TO. I'm not choosing him. He's the next generation. And so I think it's actually kind of wonderful because when they leave the precinct, when they go out into the field, it doesn't matter what they have in common, what they don't have in common, if they like each other, if they're hitting it off, if they're not, if it's awkward,
Mm.
they've got to trust each other, because they rely on each other. Because when he shows up to the first call, he's my partner. They don't know that I'm training him. They don't know that this is his first day on the job. And I don't want to let them know that because I want him to operate like we are seasoned partners. And so I think it's really cool because they kind of come by it honestly in that they earn it. They earn the respect for each other. They earn the camaraderie because it comes naturally. They don't force it. They're not like, you like this, I like that. That's so cool. It's really earned.
Yeah.
And how was it working with Lori and Eric on this?
Oh my goodness. I mean, it was a master class in acting
Mhm.
every single day, every single time that we had a chance to work with them as actors. Also in directing, Eric's a fantastic director. In addition to our other brilliant director, Brenna Malloy.
Mhm.
For me, I was trying to absorb it all as much as I could. Each and every day, I tried to show up to set just like a sponge, and because there was just an influx of information at all times, just to take away. So I'm not sure if that was your
Yeah,
experience, but that was definitely mine.
absolutely. It was just such a learning opportunity to be in the presence of two tremendous talents, and an Eric, in front of and behind the camera. he just always has your back, you know, and even when he wasn't directing and we were in a scene together, I love that he was just willing, you know, he's not giving you direction, but he's still engaging in the same kind of conversation of like, how can we make this better? What can we do? What are your stakes? What are my stakes? You know, deepening and deepening and deepening.
Yeah.
Yeah, Troy, would you ever want to direct an episode of the show?
Yeah, that would be a blast. I couldn't fathom doing it currently because, you know, we're in every scene together. And so it would be, oh my God, I don't know how I'd wrap my head around like in front, behind, you know, for everything. And also we're just finding this show. It's so cool because we're finally getting to present it to the world, but it's the first season. You know, we're getting to know Harmon and Diaz as the audience is getting to know them. You know what I mean? We're getting to understand and deepen these lives. And so I'm really, really interested in figuring out more about what this dynamic is, you know, before I even, you know, think about stepping out of it and being like, yeah, I know I could do this or that. You know, I still think I've got a lot of learning to do.
I
Yeah.
will add, though, I think that if she ever chose to, she'd do an incredible job.
Oh,
Thanks.
I have no doubt. And I have to ask, so how would your character in this show react to meeting Spencer and some of the Pretty Little Liars? Do you think they'd be friends? Would she be
Oh my
like,
God.
"Hmm."
Oh
I feel like
Lord.
Harmon would be giving them the side eye.
Dude, it's so funny because I used to say in all my press for PLL that, you know, they were like, everybody would say, what's your advice to the Pretty Little Liars? And I'd be like, call the police, call the cops, call the police. They will help you. But obviously then there wouldn't be a show. That was the whole point of them, that they were just tiny criminals running around all the time, keeping secrets. But so, yeah, I think Harmon would have a lot to say about the way that they conducted themselves, and she would probably put an end to a lot of the storylines very quickly.
Fair to say. And very last question, do you guys still keep in contact with the PLL girls? Do any of your, because a lot of
Totally.
your moms, do you guys go on play dates, exchange advice on motherhood or anything like that?
We do for sure. Yeah. Shay and I are still super close. Ashley is a new mom. I feel very, very lucky to have these ladies in my life. I just got to hang out with Sasha and her incredible son and her husband. And so it's, yeah, with every chance I get to have a reunion, it's like being with family.